Are you looking to remote to your Ally from another PC? Or maybe you're looking to remote into your gaming desktop or your friend's gaming desktop to play higher-end games that the Ally can't handle. Don't worry, I'll be going over 3 remote tools so that you can decide which is best for you. So keep on watching to find out how to do it.
Hello and greetings to everyone. Today we're going to go over Remote Desktop, Parsec, and Moonlight. We'll be comparing their gaming performances, which ones can run without an internet connection, how to set them up, and my overall recommendations. As we go through these clips, make sure to pause or slow down the video if you can't keep up. I've also set up the game performance videos to be individual videos so that you can have 2 browsers side by side to compare, or you can skip straight to the side-by-side comparison, which I have provided as well. Anyways, with that said, let's get started. First remote tool we'll be testing is Remote Desktop Connection. We'll be launching Apex, or at least try to. And this is why we don't play games on Remote Desktop and use Parsec or Moonlight instead. Here we have Parsec set up on both the host and the Ally to connect unattended. I'll be showing you how to do this towards the end of the video. Right now everything looks smooth, but you'll notice some pixelating when there's more going on. Also, because all the heavy load is being carried on the host, I set the Ally's TDP to 7 watts. I don't know if you guys see it, but I already noticed some pixelation going on.
Let me at him.
I'm going to try to create as much movement and action as I can to see how well Parsec can stream over my 10 megabit connection. Pay attention because I'll be testing this on Moonlight to see if the same pixelation occurs. Not sure if you guys saw that, but as I was going up the rope, you could see a bit of pixelation. You can kind of see it here too as I look up. Most of the pixelation occurred whenever I turned, if you guys noticed.
I'm back, fresh from a nap.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this noticeable, or do you only notice it because you're looking for it? Let's see what Moonlight looks like. At the main menu, I'm not sure I can see the difference, since nothing is really going on here. Oh yeah, that's a lot smoother. I don't think I saw any pixelation going through this tunnel.
Let's go this way. Out in the chimney. Come on in. Old Painless is waiting.
I think the smoke looks a lot smoother too. What do you guys think? Honestly, I don't think I've noticed any pixelation so far. Even climbing up the rope looked smooth like butter as well. The turns look really smooth too in comparison to Parsec.
I'm back, fresh from a nap. I think we're good. The dark pierces through. Let's center ourselves.
Honestly, I think Moonlight looks so much better. Even the colors pop more too. If only I had a better upload speed, maybe then it would be a more fair match. Anyways, let's do a side-by-side to see the difference in visuals. So, originally I said I couldn't notice any difference in the lobby, but now that I have them side-by-side, what I've noticed is the cancel button on the right has richer looking red, and the text is a bit more crisp as well. In this scene, Parsec has some obvious pixelation, and the colors are definitely not as rich as Moonlight. As we're going up the rope, you can see Parsec struggling to keep up and pixelate, while Moonlight looks perfectly fine with richer colors. Also, if you look at the gun, you can see that Parsec has less detail and Moonlight is a lot more crisp looking. You can probably see the detail better in this scene. And this one too. Finally, in this scene, you can see that the blacks are richer on the right and is most noticeable in the arms. Anyways, let's head on to the next game. Here we have Ratchet and Clank. I'm running at 1440p, which the Ally definitely can't handle. I was also at 1440p on Apex as well. And of course, I'm running on 7 watts, which I'll be using throughout this whole video. Don't forget, you need to press a button for Parsec to detect your control. Moving the joysticks don't count. I'm already beginning to see some pixelation here. Also, the colors seem a bit washed. You can see the stream struggle to keep up here when I did that 360. Oh yeah, I definitely see the pixelation here even when there's not much action going on. I don't think I see any pixelation going on in this cutscene, but now let's head on to Moonlight to see how that performs.
Is the fixer on this planet?
Already the difference is quite noticeable. The colors are more vibrant and everything seems smoother. I don't think I see it struggling to keep up after doing that 360. This honestly feels like I'm playing on my desktop itself. Look how much smoother it is compared to Parsec in this same area. I don't think I can tell the difference in this cutscene compared to Parsec. So let's move on to our next test. Focus your eyes on the top left of the screen. If you look closely, you can see that as we dash through the air, the motion blur lingers longer than it should compared to the right side. If we pause here, you can see that the triangles on the right are darker and the shadows are darker as well. If you look closely, you can see that after every shot on the left, there's some pixelation going on. In this scene, you can see that the blue is richer in color on the right, and as we jump off the stream, struggles more on the left. In this choke point, you can see Parsec struggle as well. Finally, in this cutscene, I don't think I can spot the differences, but maybe you guys can, so I'll just leave it here in case you guys want to compare the two.
Is the fixer on this planet?
He most definitely is. Great guy, the best, and single, if either of you are interested.
We were told that he can fix phase quartz.
Phase quartz, blaze quartz, any quartz, anything! But, we've been having trouble with pirates, so we asked him to help because, you know, he's a big guy. But after a few days of totally crushing them, he just, broke.
Perhaps we could fix him.
You two look like you could straighten him out in a mall-enough minute. But the path to him was destroyed in the last pirate raid, so you'll need a
Next test we have here will be our offline test. As you can see, I have no internet connection here, but Moonlight still recognizes my ally. So why is this offline test important, you might ask? Well, first, even if you don't have an internet connection, you can still play some games offline. For games that have de novo, you can hotspot to log in. Once you've got the game launch, you can hop off the hotspot to save your data. Also, if you're using remote desktop, you'll be able to copy and paste file and text, which both Parsec and Moonlight can't do. Anyways, let's test to see if I can connect to my ally using Moonlight in offline mode. As you can see, I was able to connect to my Ally using Moonlight. It looks a bit washed out, but that's most likely because the video settings in my NVIDIA control panel has too much brightness. Now let's move on to remote desktop connection. As you can see, this works as well. Notice here that the Ally's screen was locked out for privacy, which Moonlight and Parsec doesn't do. Finally, we have Parsec. As you can see, Parsec requires an internet connection and won't work. So now let's move on to the setup. I've trimmed out a lot of things, so make sure you pause, rewind, or slow down the video if you're struggling to keep up. Alrighty, first remote tool we'll be going over is Remote Desktop. And the first thing we'll need to do is create a local account. So under Settings, select Accounts. Scroll down, then select Other Users. Select Add Account. Select I don't have this person's sign-in information. Select Add a user without a Microsoft account. Fill in all the info on this screen and hit Next when ready. Make sure to convert your account from Standard to Admin, and you should be ready to configure Remote Desktop. By default, 11 Home doesn't come with Remote Desktop, so you'll either have to upgrade to Pro for about $6, or you can apply what I'm about to show you. First, let's download RDP wrap from GitHub. Grab the zip file here and run the install batch file. Once the install completes, head on over to the RDP wrap folder. From here, we're going to delete all of the contents in the RDP wrap ini file. Next, head back to your browser and search up rdpwrap.ini and select Search all of GitHub. Select the post made by Cbax. From here, select the rdpwrap.ini file. Next, select Raw on the right side. Now copy all of the contents and head on back to the blank ini file that we deleted earlier. Once you've pasted the contents, make sure to save the file on your desktop or you'll get this error. And once you've saved the file, open up Services and stop Remote Desktop Services. Otherwise, you'll get this error when trying to copy over the RDP wrap file we just created. Once we've copied over the file, you can start the service again and head on over to the system settings. From here, I want you to click on Rename this PC at the top right corner. This will be the name you will be connecting to from your other computer. And once that's done, go ahead and restart your Ally and make sure to test to see if you can remote in from another PC. Now that I'm on my other PC, let's see if I can connect. If you look closely, the format for the user is the name of the PC, followed by the user's name. I marked the PC name in green and the username in yellow. Once you're ready, click Connect, then enter your password. And that's it for the remote desktop setup. And just remember, this setup could have been a lot easier if you had Windows 11 Pro. But with that being said, let's move on to the next remote tool. Our next tool, Parsec, is going to be a lot simpler to install. First, let's download Parsec from Google. Then run the installer and make sure to install the virtual display driver, which is used for hosting. Register for an account and do this again on your host PC. Once you've finished the registration, head on over to the host settings, and I want you to change the following. Make sure hosting is enabled. Leave resolution to use client resolution. Bandwidth should be set to about 10 megabits per user. FPS should be left at 60 for stabilization. Make sure echo cancellation is set to new. And make sure echo selection is set to Discord if you're using Discord for your voice calls. As for the rest of the settings, you can leave them as default. Now let's add each other by clicking on the friend icon on the left side. Make sure to accept the friend invite from the host side so that you can connect from the client side. Once the invitation has been accepted, go ahead and connect to the host. From here, configure unattended access through the buddy list and make sure you do it on both Parsec accounts. Before we end this Parsec setup, I wanted to add 2 more tips. First, let's double tap this Parsec button. With this button, we can see how our connection is with the host. We can also hide the button from here. And to bring it back up, just press Ctrl, Shift, and M. Next, we can decide what the clients can see. By default, Parsec shows your entire screen. So to choose what you want the client to see, we first go to Settings, Approved Apps, and switch it from off to on. In this example here, the user can only see Resident Evil 4 and Apex. This concludes the Parsec setup, so let's head on over to our final remote tool. For our Moonlight setup, we're first going to need to download Sunshine, which is used for hosting. We're going to install this on both our client and host PC so that we can connect to each other. So first, let's search up Download Sunshine. Select the first link with Lizard Bite. Scroll down and click Show All 24 Assets. From here, make sure you download the Windows installer. You may get this warning, but just make sure to click the 3 dots and click Keep. Run the installer and keep clicking Next. Once it's done installing, we'll need to download Moonlight on both our client and our host. You can find it by clicking on this first link and the installer at the bottom of the screen. From here, click on the Windows installer. Run the installer once complete, then click on the host you're trying to connect to. If you don't see your host here, make sure to restart the host PC. I already had Sunshine installed on the host PC, but after opening it for the first time, it should have asked you to create a password with the default username as Sunshine. From here, make sure you log in and go straight to the PIN tab. Enter the PIN that was generated from the client, and you should now be able to connect. Before we connect, though, let's click on the settings at the top right. I set the resolution to 1080 and the bit rate to 50 megabits, but you could set it however high you want, since this isn't reliant on your internet upload speed, but more on the speed of your network equipment. Once you're done looking through the settings, test to see if you can connect to your host. As you can see here, we were able to successfully connect. This portion of the Moonlight setup will be optional. If you want to take it to the next level and shorten the steps to launching your games and adding cover art, then keep on watching to find out how to do it. First, let's open Sunshine and go straight to the Applications tab. From here, click Add New. Type the name of the game you want, but make sure you spell it the way you see it in the game's library. Next, we'll need to grab the file path. So to do that, we'll want to right-click on your shortcut of your game, click Properties, and copy the target. Now go back to Sunshine and under Detach Commands, type in the following: cmd /C. Paste the shortcut you copied earlier and click the green plus sign to add the command. At the bottom, select Find Cover to select your cover art and click Save when ready. For Steam and Epic Games, the procedures are going to be similar. The only difference is you'll have to manually add the quotes and type Start before pasting. Also, remember how I said to make sure to name the game the way you see it in the library? This is what happens when you don't do that, and this is what happens when you label it correctly. One more thing to note: if you don't have a shortcut to your Steam game, just right-click the game. Click Manage and add a shortcut. For Epic Games, click the 3 dots, click Manage, and add the shortcut from here. I also have another 2 useful tips for you. First, before you connect to Moonlight, make sure your Ally is in gamepad mode. If the controller doesn't detect, make sure your host doesn't have a controller already plugged in. If so, you'll have to disconnect the control from the host and restart Moonlight. Also, if you're hosting from the Ally, then you'll have to disable Embedded Controller. Another useful tip I have for you is forwarding the Windows key. If you try to press the Windows key, it usually only applies to your Ally, but if you enable the forwarding option in Moonlight, you should be able to forward the Windows button. Also, here is a list of commands in case you need them, but the most important one you should memorize is left bumper, right bumper, select, and start to exit Moonlight. So now that we've gone over all 3 tools, let me share my thoughts on why I use each tool. I'll start off with Remote Desktop. Remote Desktop is a great tool that I can use for managing things, which include changing my theme to dark, disabling the UAC, changing my wallpaper, copy and pasting files and text from the host to the client, navigate efficiently, and download and install files. So yeah, overall I like using it to accomplish tasks faster than I ever could compared to tapping on the touchscreen, all from the comfort of my desktop's mouse and keyboard. Parsec. What do I use Parsec for? I like using Parsec to play couch co-op games with friends that can't meet up in person. I can play with anyone, whether it be someone who's sick and can't come over to my house, someone living in another state, or someone from a different country. Parsec gives me that opportunity to accomplish this. It also opens up the opportunities to turn any single-player game into a co-op experience, and also puts all the heavy load on the host. So if you know a friend who has a high-end PC with great upload speeds, you'll have the ultimate virtual co-op experience from the comfort of not only your Ally, but any device. Finally, we have Moonlight. Moonlight is a great tool for local game streaming, which forces the host to do all the heavy lifting, allowing you to play at higher graphical settings, which also creates an opening for your Ally to run at a low wattage, while also reducing heat and ultimately prolong your gaming sessions. It doesn't rely on your internet speed, so you can always expect superb quality with almost no latency. Just like Parsec, Moonlight can run on any device: Linux, Windows, iOS, Android, and Mac. Moonlight works on all of these platforms, allowing you to turn any obsolete device into a gaming machine. So now that we've gone through all three remote tools, what do I recommend? I recommend you get all three for different scenarios. Use Remote Desktop for copy and pasting files and text, and manage configuration settings. Use Parsec to play co-op games or connect to your own PC remotely. And finally, use Moonlight to play games locally with extremely high quality and low latency. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.